All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today with us. We are going to talk about the opening weekend for volleyball with the Woo Pig Invitational, but we will start. Maybe Coach just do a little synopsis of opening weekend, a little opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions. So if you have questions, use the raise hand function, and once he wraps up, we will go around the horn.
Yeah, appreciate everyone's time today. And excited to get underway in Barn Hill. We had a nice weekend out at California. Went to In-N-Out way too many times. Had way too many chocolate shakes, but got a couple of wins, so that was nice. I thought the crew got better as the weekend progressed. We started off, I think, a little shaky. I think we're a team that's still trying to find a little bit of our identity, which is understandable, I think, given the personalities that we lost and the experience that we lost. But I think we're trying to find ourselves. I think took three pretty big steps forward on the weekend. And now we come home with a challenging schedule of 4 in a row. And part of that, I think, is because we've got to get some matches. I mean, these athletes have to get some on-the-job training, if you will. And so we're excited to be able to do that in Barn Hill. First off is Rutgers, and even though they went, I think, 1-2 on the weekend, lost to a really good Miami of Florida team who we'll see later this year, and lost to a good Colorado team and beat a good North Texas team. They're long and they're physical, and so they're gonna pose some trouble for us, which is not unusual given that Big Ten teams are long and physical and give lots of people trouble. So, but excited to be back home in Barn Hill.
Dudley, you can go ahead.
Coach, you talked a little bit about the challenge of playing. How good is it to have these 4 at home so the fans can get a good look at what you've got?
Yeah, I think the nice thing about it is it's one a day. When you open the season like we do, we have to open Friday, and so we had those 2 on Saturday, which were challenging. Sac State and Cal Poly are good. So it's nice to be in this kind of 7 o'clock routine. Kids can go to school, they should, but it's good, and it's good to get home. I think there's some excitement around our program, and I think you don't want to go too late in the season before you get to be at home. And historically we've opened at home a number of years, so but yeah, it's good to be home. I mean, as you know, if you've listened to me at all, I love Barn Hill. I love this arena, and I love the intimacy that we create here, and fans can get pretty close. And I think we've done a pretty nice job promoting our team over the last couple of years. So excited, yeah, excited for these fans to start, creating relationships with a series of new and talented younger kids.
Tell us a little bit about the other 3 teams as well.
Yeah. So Wichita State plays tonight. They play Kansas. And I'm not too deep on my prep in there. I was going to wait until that match was played tonight. So Kansas and Wichita go at it. But historically, right, a really good volleyball team. Chris Lamb is the coach there. He's been there for a number of years, and I think they go hard. We play them every spring, and they go hard. They do some things a little differently than us. They're a little faster than us, so that's going to be this kind of contrasting style. Rutgers is probably a little slower than us offensively, and then Wichita State's a lot faster than us. And then you get La Tech, who is off to a good start. They're trying to probably figure some stuff out here as they move through some things, and then we get to Little Rock, who Little Rock beat a really good Central Arkansas team. I think a really good Central Arkansas team over the weekend to open their season, and so that's an emotional thing. I think I don't know how many of their athletes have ties to the state of Arkansas, but I think they understand the significance of playing on campus, and those matches have been they beat us one year up here, and so I didn't like that very much. And so but that comes in the end. I mean, that's the fourth match in 4 days. So but yeah, it's some contrasting styles, and that poses some trouble for us, I think, as we prep for a new one. But I'm incredibly thankful that we're only playing one a day. That helps us a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, cheers.
Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, Jason, obviously one of those faces that if people have gotten familiar with over the years. Jill Gillen is now on the staff. I guess, can you just speak to how much of an asset she's been early on, and how is she, I guess, done in the coaching world so far?
Yeah, I mean, and not surprising. She probably has incredibly high expectations of her ability as a coach, just like she did as a player. And because of that, I think she's incredibly mindful about what she's doing and how she's doing it when she interacts with the athletes. But I think for me, she's this wonderful conduit between myself and the athletes. I had the privilege to coach her for 5 years, and now I get to hang out with her for 6. And so that's like, playing with house money there, but I think, I don't want to say that she commands respect, because that's not how she does it, but you have to be respectful for everything that she's done. And because of that, she has tremendous insight in, what it takes to do what I think a lot of our kids want to do. They want to emulate what she's done, and so it's nice to have her in the gym to be able to be that voice for them, and to encourage them, and to, hey, tell them, yeah, look, I've been there, and it's hard some days, but we'll make it through. So I think she's done a remarkable job. I really do. In a tough spot, I think. I don't want to minimize the fact that, this time last year she was playing with them. That's a tough spot to be in for the athletes and for her. And I think both parties have done a really nice job with it.
And then you spoke to, having, a decent amount of newcomers on this team, to, having started the season with some wins. How important is it for a team that is, maybe still in that gelling stage to start off well, like you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it validates some things. I think that's important. I think winning validates some things, and probably too much some days, and it hides some things on some other aspects. But what was nice for us is that we got better as the weekend got going, and especially when it came to the outside hitters. 3 of them saw time, and 3 of them were able to have some success in that space, and that success didn't threaten the relationships, and that's what's important for me. Like, hey, I'm not, 3 in 2 days is fatiguing, and so we made some decisions on our starters and bringing people off the bench because of fatigue, more so than, hey, you're not getting it done. It was like, yeah, you're tired, it's hard to do what it is you're doing. And so we're a little bit more strategic in that space than we've had to be in the past. And they rolled with it, and they understood. And, there's some disappointment, right, if you're the one coming out, but that didn't temper their commitment to team. And so I thought lots of positives, not just winning volleyball matches, which, doesn't suck, winning doesn't suck, that's kind of nice too.
Daniel, you can go ahead.
Hi, Coach. I was just wondering, kind of, I guess, having played 3 matches now, is the communication kind of maybe where you want it to be with the new group, and kind of how y'all are able to run your offense?
Well, first, I just want to say that we got the Wi-Fi fixed here, Daniel. So we're all good here. I know you had some concerns about that on the last call, and I just wanted to ease your mind there in that space. But I think the communication part, and I appreciate that question, actually, is ongoing. I think it's now a matter of, hey, how do we communicate in the match environment when things aren't particularly going well? Or how do we communicate in the match environment when things are going well? So it's that on-the-job kind of training there that I think you know, we've talked about a lot in practice, but now we have to see it come to fruition in matches. And that's a really uncomfortable space. You know, there's lots of things going on in a match. So I thought, and I don't want to keep going back to it, but I thought that communication part got much, much better as the weekend progressed. And I mean, I think it's there for Hannah and Court and Sanaya and Zoe, but I think, you know, someone like Romani Thurman and Naya Madkin and Jada and Liv Hui, who are seeing some time, I think they're realizing just why we made it such a big deal in the training camp before season opened. And so now it's a matter of, hey, we got to remind them that they've got to do that all the time.
And I guess you mentioned in your open, I guess Little Rock and then Central as well. I guess just how's the sport maybe grown across the state and maybe helped you in your recruiting at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things. You know, Arkansas State had a nice start to their weekend too. You know, Little Rock had a nice start. The Central Arkansas team, I think, is pretty good. And last spring we played Arkansas Fort Smith, and they gave us everything we wanted. Not that we asked for it, but they just kind of kept coming at us. And so I think the sport in the state of Arkansas is growing, and it's growing because there are passionate coaches and passionate people who are engaged in the sport trying to grow it. You know, and look, we've got a little bit ways to go before we catch up with the Metroplex, or we catch up with Kansas City. We can't in those type of things, but it's not because people aren't trying. It's not because people aren't efforting and they aren't enthused about the sport. And so the entire sport, I think, in general, is on this really nice upswing. And as we've seen around the country, you know, there's lots of parity right now. There's lots of good volleyball being played. You know, SMU beats Nebraska and Penn State beats Louisville, and I think there's lots of teams early that you know, we're all just trying to figure it out. You know, and I'm just glad that today we're 3-0, still trying to figure it out rather than 0-3, because I've been there. That's not as much fun.
Yeah, last quick one. In or out on animal style, coach?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't like it when that happens at SEC meetings when coaches abstain, but on this one, I think it's I'm going to play that card. I've never played that card before, so I'm kind of excited to do it with you.
Thanks.
Yeah, all good.
Had enough visits. You should have an opinion on that.
Yeah, you'd think, right?
Evan, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, coach, can you hear me?
Yep, all good.
Cool. Sweet. Sorry. Curious for you, tomorrow night, honoring the Elite Eight team, what are kind of the emotions that, you know, maybe you think you're gonna, you know, embrace tomorrow and all the memories from last season? And what does it mean to you that they're honoring this team on the home game?
Yeah, well, you know, it's nice that we've had a team worthy of honoring, you know. That's sort of nice. I haven't really given it much thought, you know. I think it's just been prep. We've had another incident that occurred last weekend that was kind of has been at the forefront of my mind for a while now, with the death of Pilar Victoria. And so I think it'll be nice to, I hope, and hope's not a plan, right? We've said that before, but what I'm hoping is that we just can kind of close that season out, you know. It was great, and I don't want to minimize it, but you know, we're starting again. You know, the next chapter is being written, but I think it's nice for everybody, the fans, certainly those athletes that contributed to that season, that hey, we acknowledge them. We acknowledge them at home in front of just a fabulous fan base last year that helped us get there. And then once we're done that, right, hey, let's go see if we can beat Rutgers, you know. And but yeah, when I you know, if you're forcing me to answer that question so I don't abstain, you know, fair enough. I think it's a cool thing to do. I think it's a really cool thing to do, and I'm you know, I like that there's a couple of banners that I'm helped put up in Barn Hill. That's kind of nice. Yeah.
Thanks, coach.
Yeah, cheers.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. We're going to turn it over to our broadcast crew. So we will have them stay on, but everybody else, thank you for being here. Hope to see you this weekend.